Who were the Mayans? Greetings to all of you, and welcome to another interesting video on this channel. Today, we're diving into the world of the ancient Mayan civilization. While the Incas, Aztecs, and the oldest and most mysterious of them all, the Olmecs, are also major civilizations from the region, the Mayans stand out for their advanced knowledge, their lasting legacy, and their incredibly sophisticated calendar system. And although we'll explore the other civilizations in future videos, today our focus is entirely on the Mayans. Who they were, how they lived, and why their civilization continues to fascinate the world to this day. So, who were the Mayans? The Mayans were one of the most advanced and civilized indigenous peoples of ancient Central America. They primarily inhabited the Yucatan Peninsula, covering areas of what is now Mexico, Honduras, El Salvador, and Belize. The ancient Mayans are perhaps best known today for their calendar, which sparked global interest and some confusion when it was misinterpreted as predicting the end of the world. But more on that later in the video. The first Mayan settlements appeared as early as 2000 BC, marking the beginning of a civilization that would flourish for centuries. By around 500 BC, major urban centers like Nakbe and El Mirador had been established, laying the foundation for what would become a powerful and influential culture. The Mayans lived in both villages and thriving cities, and their civilization reached its peak around the 6th century AD. They were exceptionally well organized, with complex political systems, social hierarchies, and well-planned urban centers. They made remarkable advances in agriculture, ceramics, astronomy, and mathematics, even developing a positional number system that included the concept of zero, a rare achievement in the ancient world, leaving behind a legacy that still fascinates scholars today. One of the most impressive aspects of Mayan civilization was their writing system, the most sophisticated ever developed in the pre-Columbian Americas. Known as Maya hieroglyphs, this script combined logograms, symbols representing words, and syllabic signs, allowing them to record everything from royal lineages and historical events to astronomical calculations and religious rituals. The Mayans believed in a complex pantheon of gods, each associated with natural elements like the sun, rain, maize, and death. They saw time as cyclical, governed by sacred calendars that guided everything from daily farming to major ceremonies. Temples and pyramids were built as places of worship, where priests conducted elaborate rituals, including offerings, bloodletting, and sometimes even human sacrifice, to appease the gods and maintain cosmic balance. Despite their incredible achievements, the Mayan civilization eventually faced a dramatic and still mysterious collapse. The collapse occurred centuries before the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors, and many of their once great cities were eventually swallowed by the jungle. Since the 19th century, scholars and explorers have debated what led to the dramatic fall of such a powerful and sophisticated culture. The question often asked is, why did the Mayans disappear? But the truth is, they didn't. The ancient Mayan civilization may have declined, but the Mayan people themselves survived. Today, around 7 million descendants of the ancient Maya continue to live in the same regions as their ancestors, preserving their language, traditions, and cultural identity. The mystery of why the Maya abandoned most of their great cities in the 9th century has sparked many theories. While no single answer explains it all, scientists have confirmed that the region was struck by severe droughts and climate shifts, which likely played a major role. I personally believe that the Maya left their cities because they could no longer sustain such large populations. The land simply couldn't produce enough food. When the Spanish conquistadors arrived centuries later, the Maya were no longer a unified force. The complex social and political structures of their past had faded, leaving smaller, scattered communities. The Spaniards also brought new and deadly diseases, like smallpox, to which the Maya had no immunity. Given all this, it's almost a miracle that the Mayan people survived at all. What fascinated me the most about the Mayans was their advanced knowledge of mathematics and astronomy. While much of Europe was still in the darkness of the Middle Ages, the Mayan cities were at their peak, with observatories, complex calendars, and a sophisticated understanding of celestial movements. It's deeply ironic that when Columbus and the Europeans arrived in the Americas, they looked down on the Maya as savages, failing to recognize that this civilization had once surpassed them in science, architecture, and culture. In today's world, where many people struggle to read a simple analog clock, the Maya were making precise mathematical and astronomical calculations over 1,500 years ago. No ancient civilization was as obsessed with time as the Mayans. For them, time wasn't just a measure, it was sacred, a supernatural force governed by the gods. Every date, every cycle, every celestial event held meaning. Their calendars weren't just tools, they were the very rhythm of the universe. And now, we come to the famous Mayan calendar. Just a quick note, this topic is incredibly vast, and there are entire documentaries lasting 1 or 2 hours dedicated to it. So yes, I've certainly left out some details. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. Otherwise, this video would have easily stretched over an hour, so I've carefully selected the parts I found most fascinating, and I hope you will too. And now, let's return to the Mayan calendar. The Maya actually used several different calendars, but the one that caused a global media frenzy was the long count calendar, which appeared to end on December 21st, 2012. You probably remember the headlines: doomsday predictions, wild theories, and even the Hollywood blockbuster 2012. But of course, nothing happened. According to Mayan belief, that date simply marked the end of one cycle and the beginning of another. It symbolized the return of the god Bolon Yokteku, who would restart the wheel of time, not the end of the world. In fact, for the Maya, December 21st, 2012 was a time for celebration, not fear. As mentioned previously, they had an extraordinary understanding of time. Their civilization used one of the most sophisticated calendar systems in the ancient world. According to this system, the current cycle began on August 11th, 3114 BC, a date they considered the beginning of this world or era. But now we come to some of the most fascinating stories surrounding the Mayan calendar. According to ancient mythological accounts, preserved in sacred texts like the Popol Vuh, the Maya believed that the world had been created and destroyed multiple times before our current age. Each of these cosmic cycles ended in cataclysm, only to be followed by a new creation, a new dawn. There were 4 great cycles before our current age. The first cycle lasted 4,008 years and ended in a great flood. The second cycle lasted 4,010 years and was destroyed by a massive hurricane. The third cycle lasted 4,801 years and ended in a fiery cataclysm. The fourth cycle lasted 5,042 years, finally collapsing under the weight of a devastating famine. The fifth and current cycle began around 751 BC. If you add all these durations together, you get a mythical timeline stretching back to 18,612 BC, long before the pyramids of Egypt, Sumerian writing, or any officially recognized civilization. It makes you wonder, were the Mayans preserving distant memories of real ancient cataclysms? And now, take a moment to think. Do you really believe that the Maya, a civilization so advanced in mathematics and astronomy and so deeply obsessed with time, would have written pure nonsense? Just because modern science tells us that the Sumerians were the first civilization around 4000 BC, does that automatically discredit the Maya's timeline? Because according to their calendar, Mayan time begins in 18,612 BC. Fascinating, to say the least, isn't it? And now, I've saved the most intriguing mystery for last. Where did the Maya's extraordinary knowledge of mathematics and astronomy come from? Modern science still cannot fully explain it. Though the Maya worshipped many gods, one figure stood above the rest: Kukulkan, the Feathered Serpent, bringer of order and knowledge. In some interpretations, Kukulkan is described as tall, light-skinned, and bearded, wearing long robes and sandals. He condemned human sacrifices. This wise teacher arrived alone, sailing on a solitary boat. He taught the people how to use fire, introduced mathematics, brought them a calendar. In short, he brought civilization itself. After completing his mission or being exiled, in some stories, he left by sea, sailing eastward again, promising to return one day. These are all Mayan records of many deities with similar characteristics who came from the sea. All legends say these deities arrived in Central America via the Eastern Sea. Modern science tends to dismiss these stories as mere mythology and legend, but I personally believe the truth might not be so simple or straightforward. What do you think? Who were these mysterious visitors? Could they have been researchers from the mythical Atlantis? Some ancient lost civilization swallowed by time? Or perhaps they weren't human at all? We may never know the full truth. We're reminded that our understanding of history and the universe is still so limited. Because in the end, there is a world beyond what we're taught. Buried truths, lost civilizations, forbidden origins. The truth is out there, somewhere around us. Welcome to the realm of secrets.